Ryan Newman. And as soon as he kind of gets sat down, we'll hand him the microphone. He's got a nice ice-cold Coca-Cola in hand. First question for Ryan Newman.
Perfect.
There. Holly's got one for you.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Could you address the changes to the championship this year and how you see that kind of playing out? And are you excited to be able to score the points in the middle of the race as well? And do you see this kind of changing the way everything looks towards the end of the year?
I'm trying to think of a unique answer because I'm sure you've had that question a couple times in this room today. But I think that the strategy of the races, the mixture of importance on a bonus point for a stage win in reference to how you race each stage and the last stage, which ultimately is still the most important, points-wise, is going to be unique and fun to follow. It is going to be a challenge, I think, to learn the system, but I don't think it's a complex system, and I think that with the right technology, it can be very easily adaptable to the fans, which to me is extremely important. And I think that the most important thing that we'll talk about with this new structure will be the 1 point that goes into the chase per stage, and still the bonus structure that goes and is now cumulative throughout the chase, because ultimately we're all racing for wins, but the big trophy is always going to be that championship.
Next question, Bob Pockris.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Has the wind drought at RCR taken any sort of a kind of life of its own in the sense of, is there a feeling like, oh my gosh, if we just get a win, everything will then kind of fall into place?
Yeah, I think we've been close and had that taste. Obviously, back in 2014 was the closest I was, but Austin had some really good races last year. Paul has had some good. But I think that it has been a challenge, and it is tough to work through that mental part of it. But we know that we have the right people, we know we have the right parts, and we have to put it all together. We've had some meetings already this year about what we can do to work on that. It's at the forefront of our thought process of getting that first victory of the season for the organization, as well as ending that drought. So. It's especially with the new format, it'd be awesome to talk about that and a double bonus for us.
Lewis
Frank of Reuters, over to your left. Have you found the hissing cockroaches you attempted to show me at the rescue ranch, or do I need to call an exterminator?
No, I sent them all up to New York. We mailed them. No, I have not seen exactly where they are, but a very good question. And I was there 2 days ago, and I honestly didn't remember seeing where the cage was. I think she had to move them. I think the last time she said something to me that they had multiplied, and they had to address the situation.
Hill Overton.
In Charlotte, no, you're safe. Yeah, especially with your experience in the past, you're safe.
Hey, Ryan, Hill Overton, WIXC Radio. This time last year, you told us that NASCAR had not taken enough downforce out of the cars. Now with the lower spoiler yet this year, do you think maybe they're there as to where you think it ought to be downforce-wise?
I think it's kind of a loaded question that you've asked, because they have taken downforce out, and they hadn't taken enough downforce out, and we've taken more downforce out. But I can't put a number on how much downforce we gain back each year, because I know that does happen. The number typically is half. And from what I've been told, it's 300 pounds less this year than last year. But we're going to gain some of that back. And the biggest difference that needs to be talked about is the tire combination. And that's kind of a moving target because of the number of racetracks that we've had that have been repaved. You can't just throw a super soft tire and expect a lot of fall off on brand new asphalt. So the biggest challenge in my eyes lays on Goodyear's shoulders, or the combination of Goodyear and NASCAR, to put something out there that does what we want it to do, that kind of matches the old school style of racing of a tire that falls off 2 or 3 seconds over a run, not we stay out and wait till the fuel burns off and run our quickest lap on old tires, which are still brand new. So there's a balance there, which I think is more biased to the tire racetrack combination than it is the actual downforce number that we have now. I do think that they have made an advantage to us with the new aero package and the fact that it moves the downforce balance slightly back, which is important to have, to me, more grip on the tires that make the car go forward than it is to have more grip on the tires that make the car turn.
Stan Creekmore. Straight ahead.
Hey, Ryan, Stan Creekmore with Outside the Box. Something we really haven't talked to yet this year. Texas is doing a complete repave, and they're changing the banking in turn 1 and 2. What do you think the biggest obstacles will be when you all go to Texas?
Basically the exact same answer I just had, having a tire combination that meets that surface and a surface that is prepared to the best of our ability so that it makes it good racing from the very beginning. I think we've had good experiences with that. I think we've had bad experiences with that. For instance, Phoenix, when it was freshly repaved, they used the what was it called? I call it the tire machine. They use a different terminology, but it lays the rubber in the corners and kind of cleans the racetrack up and gets it a little racier to start. It kind of gets the track aged a little bit, so to speak. Then you go to a track like Michigan, and as a 2-mile racetrack, we put a lot of effort into getting the track rubbered up, and it just never worked. The second race at Michigan is guaranteed to always be a better race since we've had the repave, because that rubber stays on that racetrack from June to August, and you're not going to get that opportunity at Texas. We're not going to lay enough rubber until the end of the weekend to see exactly what we have, whether it's a track surface change or a track layout change, to make a difference in the racing.
Adam Fenwick.
Adam Fenwick with Speed Sport Magazine. Ryan, traditionally you run a couple of NASCAR modified races every year. Can we expect the same from you this year? And are you going to talk Tony into jumping into the car this year maybe?
I actually had placed a phone call this morning to talk about that and never got my call answered. We've been playing phone tag, so I would like to. I would like to do a heck of a lot better than I've done the last couple of years, because for the longest time it was a whole lot of fun, and the last couple of years it hasn't been quite as much fun. So I would definitely like to, as long as I can have fun. And I don't really care what Tony does. He can work his own schedule.
There we go.
Al Stilley, Trackside Report, Indianapolis. We've seen a retirement from Cup of Tony, Jeff, and Carl Edwards out of the Midwest. There aren't any drivers coming through the Midwest, it seems like, to replace them. What has kind of led to that demise?
Eric Jones is from Michigan. That's still the Midwest to me, right? Well, that's 1 out of 3. That's of the 3 rookies, one's from the Midwest. What about the West Coast? Should we worry about them? No, I mean, I think it's important that we get good diversity in our sport from different forms of racing. I've always said, and I don't want to get in trouble for saying this, but it doesn't matter to me if it's a male or female or what country they come from, as long as they're good drivers and can drive the race cars and put on a good show. And geographically, if that comes from the Midwest and their open wheel cars, if it comes from the Southeast and their late model drivers, it doesn't matter to me. I want to go to the racetrack as a driver or as a spectator, knowing that I'm beating and competing against the best drivers that are out there in the world that want to race stock cars. That's what's important to me.
About the last question time, so who wants to throw one more out for Ryan?
I must have answered that one okay, because
You did okay.
follows up.
Yeah. We're running about 45 seconds ahead these last couple, so you may
I
get a
get
45
long-winded on a
second bump
couple of these
here.
if you want me to.
How about Rescue Ranch? You know, that's a big commitment you and your
Yeah.
wife have made on a subject that is non-racing, but you're able to do an awful lot of
Well,
good.
I mean, yes, it is non-racing, but without racing, we probably wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. So Rescue Ranch, for those of you that don't know, is our 501c3, and as Lewis mentioned, it does have a few cockroaches, whether they're planned or not. we educate. Lewis came up for a quick little visit one day, but we educate kids about animals, and the ultimate goal is to teach the kids through education how to be responsible pet owners or responsible to animals in general. So we teach about agricultural animals, domestic animals, and wild animals, and we as humans what we can do to control either the overpopulation or be responsible pet owners. So we have functions with local schools and school trips and field trips, and my wife Chrissy, who runs pretty much everything and has a staff of about 7 people, they have as many as 90 to 100 kids there a day at times, not every day of the week, but at times, and have planned events for them. So it could be something as simple as arts and crafts that they learn about animals. It could be hands-on experience with a rabbit, different snakes and reptiles that we have. We have agricultural animals like cows and miniature horses and goats and a couple turkeys, chickens, things like that. So we try to teach a little bit about everything about animals in general to kids, and hopefully the goal is that those kids will go back and teach their parents and kind of play catch up on the few generations that we've had of people that kind of forget about some of the great outdoors.
Very good work, and we'll look forward to a good season.
Yeah,
for you.
rescueranch.com is the website, and it's open to the public, and we prefer to have people to come under with a visitation tours and things like that instead of having a big influx of people, but it is open for anybody that's interested in coming.
Awesome.